Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Inside Artesian Basketball here on WREP 15 Sports. I'm your host, Eric Meyer, joined as always by Artesian head coach Kip Staggs. The Artesians opened up Mid-State Conference play last weekend with a big home victory over the Greenwood Woodmen. We'll talk with the coach about that contest. We'll also talk about the contest over at Columbus North, and we'll look ahead to the game at Bankers Life Fieldhouse coming up on Friday night, a Mid-State Conference matchup against the Plainfield Quakers. Coach, up first, so let's talk a little bit about the game on Friday night against the Greenwood Woodmen. It's a Mid-State Conference matchup. You guys come away with a win in overtime over the Woodmen.
We did. We're very pleased to put ourselves in that position early in the season, and it's one of our goals to win the conference. And to do that, you got to get out of the box right away, and we were able to do that. And we got off to a great start. We jumped up 19-9 in the first quarter, and they hit a three there at the end of the first quarter, made it 19-12. And to their credit, they chipped away at that lead, and that's probably one of the things that this ball club has got to learn to do a little bit, is when you get a lead to be able to add to it and understand what it takes to get there. And but we found ourselves ahead 30-26 at halftime, and then we traded a bunch of baskets in the third quarter, and then found ourselves down 44-40. And to our guys' credit, we made some key stops, a couple steals, layup or two. Tyler Stead took a big charge, and then we were able to get in overtime, and we pulled it out in overtime. So just a really nice win for our crew, and for us, for an inexperienced group to be able to go through that scenario overtime. You just can't duplicate that in practice.
That was good for you guys, like we said, to be able to come away with the victory and the win over Greenwood. Down the stretch, Greenwood kind of slowed the game down a little bit. They had a couple of possessions there late where they kind of tried to take the air out of the ball. What are you expecting your young man to try to do during that time to combat some of those things?
Well, I thought to a certain degree it was to our advantage because it gave some of our guys a chance to catch a breath, and we were able to kind of regroup ourselves a little bit, and the game slowed down maybe to a point that it helped us. And then we were able to trap a little bit in the half court. We were able to turn them over a couple times, and we were much better offensively. We were more efficient down the stretch, and so it really worked to our advantage during that time frame. But then you get in overtime, and we win the tip, and the very first thing we do is throw it out of bounds, and it's just the worst thing you want to start in overtime. But we're able to hit some free throws down the stretch and made a couple plays and be able to pull it out.
As you look back at the contest, what are some of the things you think you guys did well in the game on Friday?
Well, I thought we came out with a ton of energy in the first quarter. I thought we were just really, really active on both ends of the floor. We played with a lot of purpose. I thought Staggs came out and played really well in the first quarter, and then they started face guarding him a little bit in the second half and slowed him down. I thought Tyler was just really steady throughout the whole game. He makes a big three in front of our bench that we needed to go down. So I thought that we made some key plays when we needed to, but just a nice team win overall.
You get a nice team win over the Greenwood Woodmen in the Mid-State Conference opener. Let's take a look at some of the highlights of the victory over Greenwood on Friday night.
Here we run a little post exchange. We're able to get the ball inside to Tyler, and he's able to finish on the glass. Here's a little ball screen, and Reed's able to come off of that and hit that three off the ball screen. And so you'll see us, we're just getting into a really good rhythm offensively. There's another post feed and an assist, and Tyler scores on the block. Here's another ball screen. Rejects the ball screen, and Reed knocks it down on the short corner baseline. And so we played with a lot of purpose right through here. Here's Damon in the corner off of a kick from, I believe it was Andy, and make it 14-9. We run our chin series stuff here, open up the floor, a nice kick out from Reed to Tyler, and he knocks that three down. So we're just doing a lot of good things. We're very efficient offensively right through here. Here could have been a 4-point play, a little high ball screen from Tyler for Reed. Here's a little chin cut with the flare, and Noah's able to knock it down on the top. That's one thing Noah has done a pretty good job of all year, is being able to shoot that ball from that part on the floor. Here's Wesley taking the ball to the basket and does a nice job. It's one of his strengths. Here's another nice post feed from from Reed into Tyler. But we got a nice offensive rebound by Wesley on the backside. And you see here in the third quarter, they pick up a little pressure, but we're able to break it, able to convert a little bit there on the other end with Tyler. And you see the score is 1-2 possession game. Here we trap the wing. Andy's able to get the steal, and Damon's able to lay it in for us. Here we go. We're looking for another little steal, and Andy picks it up. And we turned up the pressure there. We had to do something. They were going to hold the ball late in that fourth quarter. And here's another steal. Nice pass up to Andy, and then to start that overtime. So we really had to make some defensive plays, and here's a nice backdoor cut by Tyler to give us a 2-point lead, and actually just from that point forward, we were able to hold the lead and secure the game. But, you know, we had to make some key plays. You saw there 2 big steals, the backdoor cut by Tyler on the out-of-bounds play. All that had to go our way.
Able to come up and turn up the pressure, like you said, as well. They call a timeout late. You guys come out in that little bit of a trap that'll happen after the timeout. Kind of caught them off guard a little bit, and were able to get that bucket to cut the lead as a 4-point. And then you, like you said, you go into that full court pressure, turn them over again. That was a situation where they had a lead and they were going to be content to hold the basketball there. And your guys, like you said, to your credit, defensively, 2 huge plays that get you into overtime and then get the win.
Absolutely, and we had to be patient defensively. You know, I talk about being patient offensively, but, you know, there was a couple possessions there where we're in the zone, they're passing it around, we're just being patient, we're not taking a lot of chances, we're just covering our guys. You know, I thought we did a really good job on the Drew kid. You know, he came in the game averaging 17, 18 points a game, and he was 2 for 15. And now their big kid played really well, and he was hard for us to handle inside. But, you know, we were able to secure the perimeter and keep people in front of us for the most part, and so that really helped us. So patience defensively was really a big key for us.
Also, in the first half of play, that 3 balls you saw in the highlights, you guys shot it pretty well from behind the arc there in the first half of play.
We did, and part of that was we took good shots, and we were able to get the ball to guys in a position where they're ready to shoot it. The shot you saw Damon hit in the corner, you know, his feet were set, he was positioned, ready to go. So all that comes into play as well. You know, sometimes it's not the number of shots, it's the quality of shots that you have, and so, you know, the reverse happened to us on the Saturday night, where they shot a lot of shots in the paint and we're shooting threes that were contested. So, you know, the opposite occurred to us on Saturday.
Let's go to the Saturday night game. Traditionally, I think that's been one of the toughest ones for you guys. It's not the easiest place to play over there at Columbus, and it's the first really back-to-back, especially with a team that's, we talked about it, young or inexperienced, if you will. How do you handle the one game from the prior night and then coming back, getting on the bus, driving over to Columbus? It's a huge place. There's not very many people there. How are you going to respond to all those kind of things? And Columbus North came out early on. They started to hit some shots, kind of pulled away, rode to some momentum, and got the victory.
Yeah, I tell you, the one thing that we were disappointed in that game was our first quarter. You know, we turned it over 2 or 3 times. Like 6 of their 15 points in the first quarter came on basic layups. Nothing that they ran out of their offense, nothing that they did offensively. It was really a byproduct of our inability to handle the ball, or really our inability to take care of the basketball. And then we shot threes. You know, we shot 3 or 4 threes that were quick. You know, I thought we handled their pressure pretty well. We got through the pressure. We make 1 or 2 passes, and then we took a quick shot or just a really off-balance bad shot, and then that turned into a basket on the other end. And like I told our guys, you eliminate those 6, 8 points that they get that are really easy baskets. We're a little bit more patient. We handle the ball better. We take a better shot. Now all of a sudden, instead of being down 15-9, maybe it's 9-10, or maybe it's 12-8. You know, the game's a lot different at that point. And then we found ourselves down 31-21 at halftime. It got away from us there in the third quarter a little bit, but we battled it back, got it to 10. And then they made another run. They're a nice ball club. They're going to win a bunch of games.
It's a team, too. It seemed like early on there wasn't a lot of energy. You should be energetic after watching their opening that they do. They've got the Bulldog flying around. They do a nice job of that. But it's a huge gym with not a lot of people on a Saturday evening. Everybody's home watching the football championship games. Early on, to me, there wasn't a lot of energy. But as soon as they kind of got the lead a little bit, they kind of smelt that some of the steals I saw their tempo kind of increase, maybe their energy pick up a little bit that helped them obviously in the game.
Well, and I think the opposite occurred for us. You know, they were able to turn us over. We were able to not get back in transition very well. And then all of a sudden our dauber started to drop a little bit. And we've got to learn to play through that stuff. It's going to be, you know, adverse situations throughout the course of the year. And you've got to learn to handle it, and you've got to be able to move through it. And, I go back to the Edgewood game in the sense that, we had a 2 or 3 minute stretch there at the end of the third quarter where we didn't handle very well. Against Greenwood, we handled that 2 or 3 minute stretch much better. We didn't panic. And then against Columbus North, because they got a run on us, we didn't respond very well. So those are just things we've got to learn to do to handle better.
Columbus North coming away with the victory over the Artesians on Saturday night. Let's go ahead and take a look at the highlights from Columbus North High School.
Well, here's early in the game an offensive rebound and put back by Wesley, and we're able to hang right in there at this point. There's a nice post feed from Damon into Tyler, and a nice turnaround. Tyler had 23 and 9 in this game, played really well. And I think one thing that you see it right here is that they were in a triangle and 2. It's something we haven't seen. We were prepared for. We just didn't handle it as well as we needed to, and we were just not able to execute as well as we need to in that stretch. Here's a pass down the corner into Tyler, and to start the second quarter, and it's a 3-point game, and then all of a sudden they run off 5 in a row. And here's a nice pass from Reed to Tyler inside, and you're keeping it right at that 5-point. Here's a nice steal, and he's able to finish at the other end. But right during this stretch here, we just weren't able to secure it, get enough stops, and be able to get in there where we're within that 5-6. But understand that our first quarter set us up for this.
Right.
Now here we're in the second half, and Reed gets a little bit more aggressive here in the second half, especially early on, and we're able to cut in that lead a little bit. But then, we're just not able to get inside that 10-point from that point forward. We were able. Here's Chase. I thought Chase gave us good minutes in the game. He's still trying to get his basketball legs underneath him. I think you'll see him play a little bit more and more as the season wears on. There's Noah on the floor to pass ahead. I thought, to our credit, we battled a little bit there, but really it's easy to battle when you're down 15, 18 points, and you can be a little more aggressive. Here's Andy driving to the basket, and Tyler staying with the rebound and putting it back in. Elijah Hoskins comes in, and he gave us a few good minutes. There's some things that he still needs to learn how to do. There's a nice steal and play by Reed and Tyler. Here they go back in that triangle. Here's where Elijah gets open because the triangles allows it to be open. And we get it to 13. We actually get it to 11. Here's Tyler driving in and get into 11. And, they don't score, and then we turn it over right behind that. Here's a pass ahead from Reed to Tyler, and he's able to finish. Andy is so athletic at times. He just needs to learn to be a little bit more in control, jump stop, kick it out when he needs to, or score around the basket, jump off of 2 feet, and be a little bit more under control. Once he does that, he's going to be a much better player for us. But, from the weekend of Edgewood to this weekend, I think we saw some growth in our guys. We saw some improvement, and hopefully we'll carry that over to Plainfield.
Plainfield, the opponent, coming up on Friday night. You always have talked about, since you've come back here as a head coach, trying to give your young men some experiences every year and some unique things, and there's been some unique stuff happening. This year, again, it'll be an opportunity to take the guys to Bankers Life Fieldhouse, and they'll get that chance on Friday night at 6 o'clock.
It's one of the greatest places in the country to play in. The Big Ten tournament's held there. The NCAA tournament has games there. The Pacers obviously and the Fever obviously play there. So it's just a great venue for basketball. And, we're able to add our 5th and 6th grade Indy Hoops teams are going to play there before our game. So we're making it a little bit of a community night in the sense that our little guys get to experience it as well. And so, that in itself is just a lot of fun. And that in itself gives a lot of memories to a lot of people. And so in the backdrop, though, there's a mid-state conference game with Plainfield. And, definitely our goal is to come out with a win after Friday night's game. But the experience is one thing. We had that experience last year at Pepsi Coliseum. We went up there, and we were just not very good. Probably our worst game we played all year. We've got to not be able to pay attention to the bright lights in the big city, so to speak, and focus on the task at hand. And if we do that, stay within our game plan, we'll give ourselves a chance to win.
So focusing on the task at hand, which is the Plainfield Quakers, the Quakers, this is a pretty good ball club. They're off to a pretty good start. I'm not sure that it's come out of nowhere because they lost a lot of people, but the fact that this is like we talked before a little bit, this is a team that's playing well together. It's like the kids have played for a long time, sharing the basketball, doing their roles and those kind of things, and Coach Weaver has them off to a good start.
Well, Edgewood's undefeated. Greenwood has gotten off to a decent start, and then Columbus North is 3-1. Their only loss was to Heritage Christian, who's ranked. And then we have 3-0 Plainfield. So the front part of our schedule has been really good in the sense of how these teams have come at us. And Plainfield is really playing well together. Their chemistry is outstanding. And Coach Weaver and I spoke the other day, and I told him, I said, I think your team has great chemistry. Probably had more talent a year ago in terms of the kid that went to Duquesne and a couple of the other players, but they play so well together right now. They like each other. Their chemistry's good. They play hard. They defend. They're holding teams in the 40s average-wise. They had a great win at Whiteland, 73-39. To hold Whiteland, who's probably maybe a conference favorite, 39 points is a really good exhibition of what they're about. They're long. They're 6'3", 6'4". They cover the areas pretty well. So this is a nice ball club. They play, like I said, play well together. They defend, they rebound, and they're just buying in right now with what they're wanting to do.
What are some of the things that they like to do for Coach Weaver offensively and defensively?
So they'll run an open post option in the sense that they don't drop anybody in the post. They'll run some dribble handoffs, some flares in that motion. They'll run a few sets, like a couple double ball or a double man high screen. They'll do like a little shuffle cut. So they'll do a couple things, but basically they're going to get off the glass and they're looking to go. They're trying to push the tempo. And then on the offensive end or defensive end, they've been very flat in the sense that they're not going to give up the dribble drive. They're going to stay in the gaps. It's a pack line defense type philosophy where they're going to just stay in those areas, keep you in front, switch, and just make it real difficult for you to score. And they've been able to do that just basically the whole year so far.
Knowing what they like to do, knowing that you guys can't get caught up in all the lights in the environment, what are some of the things that your team's going to have to come out and try to be successful on Friday night?
Well, we're going to have to score in the paint. We're going to have to get some. We're going to have to get some passes in the paint. We have to get some drives in the paint. We have to score down there. That's one. Two, I think we need to do a good job of keeping them in front of us. They like to drive, so we've got to do a good job of guarding our yard and stepping out, contesting the three when we need to, but basically keeping people in front of us. And there's different types of closeouts, and you got the Reggie Miller closeout, where you're going to close out long and tall and make them dribble it. And then you got the Rondo closeout. So for a non-shooter, you're going to close out short and keep it in front of them. So we'll talk about those kind of things this weekend about how we want to handle personnel. But I think I see growth in our team right now. I think it'll continue. Friday's just another test for us along the way.
All right, Coach, we appreciate it. We'll be up there to see that test on Friday night.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
That's Artesian head coach Kip Staggs. As Martinsville will travel to Bankers Life Fieldhouse coming up on Friday night. 6 o'clock tip. It's a little bit early, but get out, get up there, support the Artesians, do something around Indianapolis if you feel the need to do that, as well as Martinsville battles Plainfield in a mid-state conference matchup. As always, I'd like to thank the head coach Kip Staggs for coming in. For Kip Staggs, along with the RTV2 class who produced it, I'm Eric Meyer. We'll see you again next time inside Artesian Basketball.